Hey, how's it going, everybody? Matt Houston here. So today we're talking about the big, scary Polearm Master guy in the front of the line that you just don't want to approach, and even if you do, it's going to be a bad time for you. So the feats we're talking about today is going to be Sentinel, Polearm Master, Great Weapon Master, and just to put a little cherry on the top, Heavy Armor Master. And we're going to go through these alphabetically as always. And so, without further ado, let's get going. So the first one on the list, and this is ironically the one that you might want to tack on either first in your build or last in your build, depending upon how you want to approach this, and that is Heavy Armor Master. So Heavy Armor Master can be found on page 167 of your player's handbook and reads as follows. Prerequisite, of course, is the proficiency with heavy armor. You can use your armor to deflect strikes that would kill others. You gain the following benefits. You increase your strength score by 1 to a maximum of 20 while wearing heavy armor. Bludgeoning, piercing, slashing damage that you take from non-magical weapons is reduced by 3. So of course this is very potent in the early game. Being able to reduce the damage you take from non-magical damage by 3 is really, really good. It effectively gives you a +3 health every time that you get hit. Of course, increasing your strength by 1 point is always nice in addition to this. And this is just good that if you're in the front line, taking on a lot of hits, this just constantly is reducing the amount of damage you take, and it stacks up very quickly over time. It can add an extra hit or two to the damage that you can take, especially in the early portions of the game. As the game progresses, of course, you encounter much more elemental or magical damage, and as well as opponents with magic weapons or weapons that do elemental damage of various kinds, making this ability much less useful as the time progresses, but there's always some non-magical damage in there that you can reduce to some extent. So Great Weapon Master is not the core foundation of this idea, but it makes you very, very dangerous when someone decides to attack you. And it reads as follows. Great Weapon Master, you have learned to put the weight of your weapons to your advantage, letting its momentum empower your strikes. You gain the following benefits. On your turn, when you score a critical hit with a melee weapon or reduce a creature's hit points to 0, with one, you can make one melee weapon attack as a bonus action. Before you make a melee attack with a heavy weapon that you are proficient with, you can choose to take a -5 penalty to the attack roll. If the attack hits, you add +10 to your attack damage. So of course, the first major benefit is that you can attack with a secondary with your bonus action if you don't normally already have the ability to do so. Having a two-handed weapon usually limits the number of ways that you can act, especially with your bonus action. Gaining an ability to, when you drop something or when you roll a natural 20, being able to hit again makes this a very, very potent feat in of itself. Basically, make your attacks inaccurate but deadly. Taking a -5 to the attack roll is quite a bit, but if you're playing a class like in a barbarian, for example, where you can just decide to roll with advantage, this makes it very, very potent, and you negate that -5 effectively and get +10 base damage onto the target. This is a lot of free damage, and with certain classes like the barbarian, which he can attack 2, sometimes 3 times, the fighter, which at top level can attack 4 times, and then of course you add action surge, which lets you attack another 4 times. Having base 80 plus whatever your strength modifier is, plus probably 5 at this point, having 80 plus 40 is an astounding amount of damage, plus, and that's not even getting to the dice yet. Of course, this is assuming that all your attacks hit. Being able to force opponents to be tripped or giving you a constant source of advantage is a very strong way to ensure that you're doing lots of damage very regular. But the real thing that makes you deadly at the front line, even though this is a good way to make you deadly, a good way to make you dangerous is Polearm Master. And Polearm Master can be found on page 168 of your player's handbook, and it reads as follows. While you are wielding a glaive, a halberd, a pike, quarterstaff, or a spear, other creatures provoke an opportunity attack from you when they enter the reach you have with that weapon. So to combine with the Great Weapon Master, this gives you an option to always have an offhand attack, but it's going to be less good. Having a D4 weapon die as opposed to, the quarterstaff, or even in the case of the glaive, having a D10 plus whatever normal effects it has in addition to this, makes it much better on the occasion that you get it. But being able to attack with the offhand, or effectively the offhand weapon, makes this a very, very good feat. You can still take the -5 and +10 to it, making it quite deadly even as a weak offhanded. But the real thing that makes you deadly with this ability is the fact that when someone enters your space, so if you have a reach weapon like the glaive, for example, which can reach 10 feet, when someone enters that space, you can make your opportunity attack against this creature. This is very good because it means that essentially someone tries to fight you, you get a free attack in. This is very, very dangerous to anybody trying to approach you, especially if you have a 10-foot reach. This makes it next to impossible for someone to get past you a lot of the time. Combine this with the last effect of Sentinel, which is on the next page of 169 of your player's handbook, and it reads as follows. You have mastered the techniques to take advantage of every drop in the enemy's guard, gaining the following benefits. When you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, the creature's speed becomes 0 for the rest of the turn. Creatures provoke opportunity attacks from you even if they take the disengage action before leaving your reach. When a creature within 5 feet of you makes an attack against a target other than you, and the target does not have this feat, you can use your reaction to make a melee weapon attack against the attacking creature. So the first important thing about all this is anytime you attack something with an opportunity attack, its speed becomes 0. Even within this, so we'll work within this feat first. So you get opportunity attacks even if something takes a disengage action, meaning they enter your space, they're not leaving without taking a risk of getting wounded by you. Not to mention, they do get wounded by you, they don't get to leave. You lock down targets this way extraordinarily well. Furthermore, when creatures within 5 feet of you, so adjacent, which is not within your entire reach necessarily if you have a polearm of some kind, but still, nonetheless, when they are within 5 feet of you and they make an attack against another creature, you get to go for the good old whack. And doing so is very beneficial. It means that they have to be attacking you. Well, if you have all the health, all the armor, and the heavy armor master feat where you're going to be taking less damage from them in the first place, them attacking somebody else is not necessarily beneficial to them. It's riskier. Not to mention, after they try to make that attack against another creature, they can't leave. Meaning, they're stuck fighting you even if they weren't going to keep fighting. So the other thing that I've made note of is the Polearm Master feat. When combined with the Sentinel feat and you have a reach of 10 feet, your opportunity attacks cause targets to become unable to move. And then you attack things when they become within reach of you. Well, they come within reach of you at 10 feet. Most creatures don't have 10-foot reach. Most only have 5-foot reach. Meaning, someone tries to come in to attack you, you would make an opportunity attack against them. Their speed now becomes 0 because of the Sentinel feat. Meaning there's a 5-foot gap between you and this other character. So unless they throw a weapon or make a ranged attack against you of some kind, they're probably not going to be able to attack. Especially if they're approaching that much, they may not have a ranged weapon to attack you with. They'll likely have a sword out. This allows you to control a lot of space around you and makes it very difficult for creatures to move past you. Or at the very least, it forces someone to be locked down in front of you, and then others trying to move past you have to basically make a sacrificial lamb in order to do so. All in all, this doesn't make you an ultimately dangerous target on the front line. It just makes you very dangerous to approach and makes it very hard to get past you. It also means that you're extraordinarily difficult to kill because of the heavy arm. And this means that you can protect other members of your team extremely well, even other members on the front line. More so if they don't have the Sentinel feat. This is a very important factor to keep in mind. All in all, these are extremely powerful feats to have in your back pocket if you want to be a frontline fighter and want to control space still. So that just about wraps up this video. Thank you everyone for watching. Do put something in the troll's nest on the bottom side of this video. For example, you could put a good set of other combos that I have not yet covered. This is only the first one, of course, and I will be covering others, but this is a very fun one that I like to do. As always, thank you for watching. Until next time, guys, have a good day.